Um, in the last class, what we had a discussion about how what is the topic? I forgot it. So in the last class, what we had a discussion about how we can what you can say MID servers and how the upgrade process is going on. So today we have already completed the business rules. So which is a before business rule and after business rule. And now how we can check or create that business rule after, sorry, we have already created, there are four types of business rules we had a discussion. So let me open the notepad. So type business rules, so which will be executed in the database level and before, after, third one display, fourth one async. So we have already had a discussion about the before, which will be whenever the record is going to update or delay or insert before, this script will execute, and after, once the record is updated or inserted, this will be executed. Now the next step here, the display business rules is nothing but a business rule which will be executed in the client level, which will to displace the data for it. So I will show you with an example. So here what we can do is here now. So that means we can do is, and async also a business rule which will be after the database commits changes. So the most of the interviewer they ask what is a display business rule, what is a async business rule, what is the difference between async and this display business rule. So async is nothing but once the database commits a changes, this will be executed. Which means if the database is changes, so whatever the changes we made it, it will be executed automatically. So next one, async. Async is one, and display business rule if you want to display something in the client level so that we can display the same thing. Now we have already seen this one, this after and display. Now we can create a display business rule. How it will execute, we can check it. Now I'm just go to the Narayana. Here my goal is whenever if I open this one, for example, if I open this record called Shravan, in the in charge. So if I user is selected in charge, I want to display this user in charge email here as a field message. For example, it's Andrew Watch, right? Andrew Watch. The email of the Andrew Watch is andrew.och@email.com. I want to display this one as an email here. So that means if you want to display it one, just go to here, right click, duplicate. I'm just going to write a business rule. So if you want to do it, what happened? First, we need to fetch that value. We need to store it in a different value. Now, if I'm going to configure, right click, go to the business rules. So this is the business rule, and go to the here new. So I'm just going to write here in charge email ID is our display. I'm just writing the naming convention whatever, and this one just go to the advanced, and later I'm just making a display. If you display, it's nothing. If you want to write a condition, I'm not writing any condition. Action is nothing but we can write. Next one is the advanced. What is the advanced? Advanced is nothing but where we can write a script for it, which means here we need to write a script. And what happened, we need to, what are the, I'm sorry, what happened, whatever the script we have written, we need to call it. So here what happened, g underscore scratchpad, scratch, g underscore scratchpad is a variable which is a global variable. There are two types of variables, is a local variables and global variables. Local variables where we can call those variables in that particular script, and from that we can execute it. But this is a scratchpad is a different one. We will do the same thing. Next one, email equal to current dot. So current is nothing but what are the one, and we can use the get display. Get display name will be used to fetch the value. If you go to set display, get display, and what was the value, we need to use it here. That is the in charge, so I'm just going to in charge dot email. So this we will call it as a dot walk-in. Dot walk-in is nothing but if the reference field, if you are taking that fields directly dot, that we will call it as a dot walk-in. If you want to, you can utilize the dot walk-in also. Now what we have to do it is, now use the dot walk-in, and I'm just trying to save this one. Now what happened, now we have I'm sorry. Now what happened, we have created the field here. From that we have stored that what is the in charge dot email id. So we have stored in a g underscore scratchpad. Now how we can display it in the, by using client level whenever the form is loaded. That means right click, configure, and go to the client scripts. So if you want to, we can write it. I'm just making in charge email display as a whenever the form is loaded. So in charge, and I'm just making it as a onload, and we are getting. See here, what we have to do it here. Here we have written that the thing. What means whatever the g underscore scratchpad, from that g underscore scratchpad we have written the same thing, and also we can write what we have to the show field error message. So which means now the next step what we have to do it here, we here we need to fetch that what you can say, I forgot that name. Yeah, so here whatever we are configuring here, so the thing, the business tool here, we need to call that one from that script for the same thing here. Now so just give me a minute, I'm just checking. So in the client script, if you want to show field message, g underscore form dot show field message. So g underscore form is an object, show field message of the one, whatever the field is here, we can write the same thing. So that means, for example, 1 minute, g underscore form dot show field message. What was the message? You underscore uh, so whatever the field message, so sorry, g underscore form dot show field message will show the message. For example, here, if you want to display any message here, we can use the method called g underscore form dot show field message. So if you want to, for example, if I open this one, g underscore form dot show field message. If you go to the g underscore form dot show field message, so whatever it will be here, show field message. So we can write u underscore in underscore, oh, I'm sorry. So we just copy that field name from here, and we can write the same thing. I'm just copying this name since we will make a mistakes for it. And what was the message we need to display here? What happened? G underscore scratchpad dot email. So here we just copy this g underscore scratchpad dot email. Sorry, I'm sorry, this is a wrong. Here we have, this year I need to write it. I'm sorry. Email and save it. Now I'm just going to save this one. Let's see how it will execute for the same thing here. So this is the scenario. For example, see, underscore name. Why it is showing as a name? Okay, so it was showing as a, here what was the name display here displaying, it was displaying the name. So if you want to, so here what happened, what was the name it was displaying, it was displaying the same name for the here, which means here, so the display name of the one, it is just different. So for example, in the table, so if I'm going to the user table, let's check what was this displaying here. So if I open this Andrew watch, and here, okay, that's okay, you can open anyone. So go to the table. Okay, so it was did not displaying. Might be you're literally wrong. Let me check. You underscore CRATCH scratchpad dot email. Show field message. Mm, scratchpad current dot get display value. Okay, so we can use a different script. That's not a problem. D underscore scratchpad scratchpad dot email equal to current dot get value of u underscore in underscore chr in charge dot I'm sorry, Raz. Email and save it. Let's try to do the same thing. That's something. There is some small table issue. So when you try this one, I don't think it will execute. No, it was not fetched. So it's an issue here. So if I save this, okay. So I'm just making the email as a true, for example. So if I make the email as a true and save this, I don't think this also will execute. Let's try. Okay, it was showing what was the name of this one. So since there is some backend script, it was showing. But the display, let's we check this display. We don't need, so we don't require. Why it was showing as a name? Just scratch pad. 1 minute. I'm just checking. Name in charge display. That is fine. So let me check it again. Let we have any script issue or not. So here what happened from the g underscore scratch pad. What we did is we did here. Let me stop the recording. So what I'm going to do is where user equal to current dot underscore in charge underscore, for example. So if I take a user, now the next step here is whatever we are doing here, um, user dot sorry g underscore scratch pad, scratch pad dot email tchpad dot email equal to current dot sorry user dot email. Means what are the email we have done the same thing here now. So we have saved it, and in that whatever we are trying to debit we can save it. Let's see in the email id. So g underscore scratch pad email id, and here, oh my god, that's fine. That's when we can write it. So here in the configure, go to, oh my god, security rules, I did it. No, right click, go to the business rules. So incident email id display in charge email id. Now let's try to save this and execute this one. See, this is the one. Actually, what happened? We have called it one as a display the same thing. That is the issue. So it will displace the email ID of the user. It is the one. Like that, if you want to show it in the client level, we can execute in the server level. Oh, sorry, client level and server level. We can do for the same thing here. This is the basic thing how we can execute the client level and server level architecture. Sorry, so the display business rule. I hope you clear or any confusion because we have done a mistake. That's fine. Now we done it one. Next one, async business rule. Async business rule is nothing but if you want to perform some action. For example, if you have created an incident and save this record, after 5 to 10 seconds, I want to mark this create an incident, go to the false condition. So that means if you want to perform some action after the database commits change, whereas the display, sorry, the as after business rule will update the record immediately. But if you want after certain amount of time, we can use the same thing here. Now what I am going to do is I'm just writing one more business rule. So the display sorry async business rule for the same thing. So if I open this Narayana, so I'm just closing all these unnecessary tabs. Right click, configure business rules. So incident creation marking as a false. So if you go to here, incident creation mark as false here. And also I'm just making the type is async. If you click on async and update, we can it will not be update for the same thing. Now what happened? gs dot sleep. gs dot sleep is a method which will be used to stop the action where, for example, if I give the 10, it will execute after the 10 seconds of the record is once the updated. And after that later, I'm just going to run current dot or ent current dot u underscore create an incident equal to 2 and save this one. That means after the 10 seconds something, whatever the record is done, it will be go to the saving state. Now let's go to here and exit check how it will execute here, which means here. So here the record I'm just making this one as a one, and some fields something ssc. I'm just going to save this record. After 10 seconds, I want to make this incident field as a what you call this create an incident will has to go for the false step. Let's see how it will execute for here. So let's reload. Sorry, we have marked as a true. I'm so sorry. Should be false. And when to run? When the create an incident is true and we need to execute it. I'm so sorry. So here I'm just making 92, 95. And let's see, after 10 seconds the incident will be go to the automatically go for the false thing, that is a update we need to do it. Why it is not going here? What happened? We have to write the current dot update. Current dot update will update the current record update. Let's try to save this, and we'll check how it will execute. See, I'm so sorry. The record before exit 10 seconds was done. So again, I'm just making it true and get PHS, and I'm just going to trying to save this record, and will okay. I think school name it was deleting, so it was go ahead. Just wait for 10 seconds. A few more seconds. Let's see how it will execute. See. We have written here gs dot sleep. Gs dot sleep will calculate the same time. See, if you no what are the seconds you are, for example, if you want to 10 minutes, it has to we have to give as a 600. That means by default it will calculate the what was the seconds we have created the same thing. Okay, this is the async business rule. The most common asked creation question is what is a display business rule, what is the async business rule, and what is the difference between display business rule and after business rule. After business rule will execute after once the record is updated or inserted, but this async business rule will be executed after the database commits change. If, for example, if you see here we have given a 10 seconds, so it will be executed for the same thing for it here. This is the async business rule. And next one, whenever if you're writing an operation, see here we have seen a query. Query is nothing but what is the query of this one? So the query is nothing but this is one of the operation. You can know if, for example, if you see the inserted, you can see it. If it is update, you can see it. But if it is a delete, also you can see it. Insert is nothing but whenever the record is inserting, we can delete the same thing for it. Update is nothing but whenever the record is updating, it will be updating the record for the same thing. And delete is nothing but whenever the record is deleting, what was the script we need to execute. And next one is the query. Query is nothing but whenever the query is nothing but whenever if you query the table user, so what was the script which has to execute for the same thing here. Now now the next step here, what it will here, see here, I'm just going to write a query business rule. For example, I can see in the incident there is another query business rule. So, for example, if I am going to the incident, configure business rule. So here in the incident, what happened whenever the user is logged in, he can only end user only can see the whenever the incident logged user is logged in. So what happened, he can able to see the what are the incidents created by him, or he was in the watch list or something one we can see it. So this is the one. If you go to the query, what was the one before, so this is the script we can write it. See where you can see user equal to which will get the current user, and also we will check whether is as user has any not a ITN user not assign underscore incident user, right? So that it will check for the all the rules for it. Now see here we are writing a add query. Add query is nothing but js dot get user id. So js dot get user id is is be part of caller id or opened by or watch list in the content. So then what it will happen is that means if the user is a caller id is nothing but the logged user be part of the caller, or else if the incident is, or else if the incident is opened by him, it will check it. Or if the add or condition, what is the one watch list, it will be the same thing. So for example, I'm just going to write here uh, incident. I'm just going to opening the incident list. So here is the caller Andrew Watch. So let's see Andrew Watch. What are the incidents? Oh, I'm sorry. What are the rules? What are yours part of it? If I open the Andrew Watch, so for Andrew Watch, if I need roles, I will remove these are all the roles for him. So I'm just going to this application development. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm just removing this Andrew Watch from this group, and let's see what it will happen is. So right now this Andrew Watch, oh my god, he has a lot of roles. That's okay. Let me remove the roles from him. I'm just removing this INC, these two roles. So right now this user doesn't have any role. So we will treat him as a end user. So ITAL. So and also I'm just going to the incident where caller is here and are opened by his are opened by his as the same user Andrew Och. Andrew Och or watch list. Watch list contains the same user, the Andrew Och for it. If you run it, how many incidents were there? So around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. So for this one, what I am going to do is right now how many incidents? 6 incidents were showing. So now for this incident, I'm just making MN or opened by system admin, and that's okay. Uh, all some test it. So if I save this one, so right now how many records it was there? It was around only the 5. And for this incident, I'm just adding this Andrew watch in the watch list. I'm not adding in the watch list. So Andrew watch. So if I adding in the watch list, then it will be go to the same thing here. If I refresh this again, so here. Now what happened? I'm just going to impersonate and I have the same user. Let's see what it will happens. So if I open as a one, and if I'm going to the incident module, and let's see which may be the same. So self service and where is the incident? If I open this incident, see total 6 incidents will be visible. If I click on the watched incidents, whereas the user be part of the watched incidents, watching list. That's like that. We can perform the this will be here for the same thing. So that means this is the query business rule. What are the query condition we want? We can write here and we can execute for the same thing here. So this is the advantage of the query business rule. Query business rule is nothing but if you want to execute certain amount or certain execution of the query which will be useful for the same thing here. So the query business rule, whenever if your table is queried, what was the script or what was the other things we need to execute, that we will call it as a query business rule for the same thing. This is the thing where we have to execute for the different types. These are the three different type of business rules, which is a display business rule and async business rule, and this is the query business rule. These three very important, and the interview may ask what is a query business rule, what is a display business rule, what is a async business rule, what is the display difference between async business rule and the after business rule, and what are the different types of business rules, what are the different data operations, so where it will execute. These are the most common interview questions asked in the uh, interview questions on the business rules. So I hope you clear for today topic. Very good. Now try to create a display business rule showing the show field message on that one, email ID, and if you go to the what we can say any other field, it will show as to show the thing. For example, if I open this Narayana, so for this one we are showing is only the email ID. You can show this one group, this one, and this organization, like all the things. And so this create I just want to, once the record is updated, I want to remove this school name as a empty after 10 minutes. And whenever the user is logged in, this ITL user, so this Narayana user should be able to what are the records created by him only. That is a display business rule scenario. So like these three scenarios you can just try to do it, and let me know if you have any questions, we can discuss in the next class. Any questions about the task you have, and any questions about the previous topics? Thank you. So just practice all the stuff, let me know in case of any issues. Okay, thank you, Pawan. Bye.